My name is Addison, and I'm 9 years older than my little sister, Evelyn. From the moment she was born, it was clear to everyone that she was special, at least, that's how our parents saw her. They would gush over her bright green eyes and golden curls, always calling her their little angel. Meanwhile, I stood in the background, a girl with plain brown hair and an ordinary face, watching as they showered her with love and attention. But don't get me wrong, I adored Evelyn. She was an adorable little thing, full of life and energy. She needed a lot of care, too, especially since our parents were always busy working long hours to provide for us. Because of that, the responsibility of looking after her often fell on me. Addison, honey, can you help Evelyn with her homework? You're so good at math. Or, Addison, dear, would you mind picking her up from school? We're still at work. These were just normal requests from Mom, ones I had grown used to hearing. I remember one particular evening when I was 15, and Evelyn was 7. I was struggling to balance her reading assignment with my own pile of homework. I don't want to read anymore, Evelyn whined, pushing her book away. It's boring. I sighed but tried to encourage her. Come on, Evelyn, just 3 more pages, then we can play your favorite game. She pouted but picked up the book again, muttering under her breath, "You're no fun, Addison." Lydia's big sister takes her to the park every day after school. I forced a smile and reminded her, well, Lydia's big sister doesn't have to work at the library like I do. Her words stung a little, but I didn't let them show. This was just how life was, Evelyn being the star of the show while I played the supporting role. By the time I was 17, I was working 3 jobs, a cafe in the mornings, the library after school, and online data entry at night. I wasn't doing it just for myself. I was working so Evelyn could have dance lessons, private tutors, and the stylish clothes that made her the most popular girl in school. I kept telling myself things would get better, that one day, Evelyn would realize how much I had done for her, that one day, our parents would finally look at me with the same pride they had when they spoke about her. Then came college application season. My grades were good, and my hard work had paid off. I had scholarship offers from several schools, including Stanford. I was over the moon. For a brief moment, I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, my life was about to change. You got accepted to Stanford? Mom said, her voice filled with surprise, but the excitement faded quickly as reality settled in. But who will help Evelyn with her college prep? And you know we can't afford that kind of tuition. I stood there, holding my acceptance letter, feeling my heart sink. Even though I had earned scholarships, I knew what she meant. There was no room in our family's plans for me to go to a prestigious university. I didn't even bother mentioning the partial scholarship I had been offered. Instead, I enrolled at the local city college, stayed home, and continued working while supporting Evelyn. My freshman year was grueling, classes in the morning, work in the afternoon, and evenings spent helping Evelyn with her homework. Most nights, I stayed up until 2 a.m., finishing my own assignments, only to wake up at 4 a.m. for my cafe shift. Years later, after I finally graduated, I landed a decent job at an accounting firm. I scraped together enough money to rent my own tiny 2-bedroom apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. For the first time in my life, I had a space that belonged only to me. I thought that maybe, just maybe, I could start focusing on myself. Then, the phone call came. It was about Evelyn's graduation dress. "Honey," Mom's familiar voice said sweetly, "you know how important this is to your sister. She needs to look perfect for her graduation." A bitter laugh escaped me as I remembered my own graduation dress, a $25 clearance rack find that another girl had also worn that day. I had spent the entire ceremony dodging cameras, embarrassed to be seen in the same outfit as someone else. "How much does she want?" I asked, already knowing I was going to say yes. "Well, she found this gorgeous designer dress. It's only $1,000. I nearly choked on my coffee. $1,000, that was almost a month's rent. But still, I heard myself say, "Okay, Mom, I'll send the money." And it didn't stop there. Evelyn had been accepted to Preston University, one of the most expensive private colleges around. At a family dinner, Dad beamed with pride as he announced that they had been saving for her tuition since she was born. "Our little girl deserves the best education possible," he said. I sat frozen, my fork halfway to my mouth. I thought about my own college experience, about the scholarships I had turned down, the 3 jobs I had worked, the debt I was still paying off. And then, as Evelyn started at Preston, the financial requests kept coming. Addison, sweetie, Mom would say, Evelyn needs help with her rent. Then it was her textbooks. Then a MacBook, because all the other students have one. Then a new iPhone, because the one I had bought her last year was embarrassing. Week after week, there was always something new, and through it all, Evelyn never said thank you. To her, I wasn't her sister, I was just an endless supply of money. 4 years later, I was sitting at my kitchen table, going over my budget, when my phone rang again. Mom's voice was unusually cheerful. Addison, you need to come over right now, Evelyn has big news. When I arrived, Evelyn was practically bouncing with excitement, flashing a massive diamond ring. I'm getting married, she squealed, and I'm leaving college. I blinked. You're what? Liam makes great money, so I don't need a degree anymore, she said casually. College is boring anyway. I felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. All the money, the time, the sacrifices I had made, it had all been for nothing. I looked at my parents, hoping for some sign that they understood how unfair this was, but they were smiling, thrilled at the news of Evelyn's engagement. What about your degree? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. We've all invested so much in. Oh my God, Addison, you're such a buzzkill, Evelyn groaned. This is why you're still single, you're always so practical and boring. She launched into a speech about her dream wedding, describing the extravagant plans in detail. Then Dad cleared his throat and dropped the final bombshell. Honey, we've taken out a loan. I stared at them, realizing in that moment that I had spent my entire life giving everything to people who had never once given anything back. I had always known what it meant when my family called my name with a certain tone. It meant they were about to ask me for something, and sure enough, this time was no different. Oh, we're just picking out your wedding gift to us, Evelyn said casually, flipping through a glossy travel brochure. I blinked. My what? Your wedding gift, she repeated, slower this time, as if speaking to someone who didn't understand plain English. I've decided you're going to pay for our honeymoon, in Paris. I felt like the floor beneath me had disappeared. My grip tightened on the doorframe as I tried to process what she had just said. Are you serious, after everything I've already paid for? Oh, come on, Addison, Mom interjected in an exasperated voice. Don't be so dramatic. I turned to face her, disbelief surging through me. Dramatic? Do you even hear yourselves? I've drained my savings, maxed out my credit cards, and worked myself into exhaustion to make this wedding happen, and now you're asking me for more? Evelyn waved her hand dismissively. It's only $30,000. Something inside me snapped. Only $30,000? I practically shouted. Do you even know what I've sacrificed for you? Do you have any idea how much I've given up? Dad, who had been silent up until now, cleared his throat. Lower your voice, Addison. No, my voice shook with the force of my emotions. I will not lower my voice. I am done, absolutely done. Years of resentment boiled over, and I could no longer contain it. You are a selfish, entitled brat, Evelyn. You take and never give anything back. I have my own life to think about. Evelyn's face twisted into a sneer. Your own life? What life? You're 30, Addison, an old maid. Have you looked in the mirror lately? No wonder you're still single. Who would want you? Her words stung like a slap, but instead of shrinking away, I stood taller. Do you know why I look this way? Because I've been working 3 jobs, 7 days a week, to pay for your wedding. I haven't had a full night's sleep in months, because of you. You're just jealous, Evelyn spat. Jealous because I'm getting married and you'll die alone. Jealous because I'm beautiful and successful, and you're just, you. That was it, that was the last straw. Successful? You dropped out of the college I helped pay for. Beautiful? Maybe on the outside, but inside? You're rotten. You have never worked a single day in your life. Never once thanked me for everything I've done for you. You think the world owes you something just because you exist. Well, guess what? I'm done being part of your entitled little fantasy. I turned on my heel and stormed out of the house. Behind me, Evelyn's furious voice rang out. You're nothing but an envious witch. No wonder no one will ever marry you. Mom and Dad joined in, shouting accusations at my back. But for the first time in my life, I didn't turn around. I didn't apologize. I didn't try to make things right. That night, when I got home, my phone was flooded with messages. Mom had sent over 50 texts, each one more vicious than the last. But something had changed inside me. I wasn't going to let them guilt me anymore. Then The final message arrived. How dare you speak to your sister like that, after everything we've done for you? You are nothing but a selfish, ungrateful daughter. How could you ruin your sister's special day? I stared at my phone, the words blurring together, and then, I did something I had never done before. I opened my laptop and started typing. To the wedding venue, I need to cancel the reservation and withdraw my payment. To the florist, please cancel the order for the wedding arrangements. To the catering company, I'm canceling the food service for the following date. To the band, unfortunately, I need to withdraw my booking. One by one, I took apart the wedding I had built. My hands trembled, but I knew it was the right thing to do. The wedding was only 3 weeks away, but I no longer cared. With every cancellation, I felt something heavy lifting from my chest. Then, the retaliation started. My phone rang non-stop. When I blocked Mom's number, she called from Dad's phone. When I blocked that, they used their landline. My email, social media, everything was flooded with messages from relatives, family, friends, even Evelyn's future in-laws. Addison, please call your Aunt Susan. Why won't you answer Uncle Jim's calls? Your cousin Rachel is very upset with you. How could you do this to your sister? I ignored them all. Then came the next step. They started showing up in person. One night, as I tried to sleep, I was jolted awake by shouting outside my window. Addison, get down here right now. Mom's voice, shrill and furious. You better fix this, you selfish witch, Evelyn added. They stood outside for hours, switching between angry threats and fake sobs. I turned up the TV and let them scream into the night. The next morning, I spoke to Jorge, the concierge of my building. Please don't let them in, I told him, my voice quiet but firm. No matter what they say, they are not welcome here. Jorge, who had seen everything the night before, nodded in understanding. Don't worry, Miss Robertson, I've got you. A week later, my friend Kelly called me. Have you heard? Heard what? I asked, already weary of more drama. Your parents had to take out another emergency loan to cover the wedding. None of the vendors would do it on such short notice without charging premium prices. They ended up paying almost double for everything. I sat in silence, letting her words sink in. A small part of me felt guilty, years of conditioning telling me I should fix things, but the stronger part of me, the part that had finally stood up for myself, knew I had done the right thing. Months passed, my life got better. I quit my second job, focused on my career, and started taking care of myself for the first time in years. My friends noticed the change. I even met someone, Benjamin. He was reading my favorite book at a cafe, and we struck up a conversation. He was kind, smart, and most importantly, he saw me, the real me. One night, while sorting through old boxes, I found a childhood photo of Evelyn and me. She was 6, I was 12. We were smiling, innocent, unaware of the future. I thought about keeping it, but then, I put it back. Some things are better left in the past. Now, as I sit in my favorite coffee shop, Benjamin across from me, occasionally looking up to smile at me, I realize something important. Sometimes, the real happy ending isn't about getting everything you thought you wanted. Sometimes, it's about finally letting go of what was holding you back.